Uh, as you can see, our racers are just putting in the new seed for our first race. We may have a second race depending on interest and availability, or we may just do one. We will see how many people are up for a second. And once we have both our streamers finish entering the seeds, we will begin. Hey Xylan, how are you? Oh crap. Stream disconnect. You saw it was showing before and now it's not. Come on. If Twitch won't play two streams for me at once, this may be an issue. Okay, yeah, this is a substantial issue. I am just going to full screen the one stream that we actually have for now. And then ask in the chat about ways to fix this, because this is obviously a problem. Here we go. Silent says it went offline for me too. I take it you're referring to Valguris' stream. Yeah, I think there's some kind of issue going on his end, because refreshing didn't fix it, trying to like play and pause didn't fix it, and so forth. His end or Twitch's end. Yeah, so probably that. For now, we'll do what we can. I have notified him in the Discord chat that his stream dropped. Moore says reached -8, 85 turns. Very nice. But yeah, for this we'll have to do what we can. Xylan also says doing good. You got a new win today. That's great. Congratulations on the win. When you say new win, was it like another win, or was it a different type? Ooh, Melt is almost out of prop armor. Different type. Very nice. And it's reached -8 at 100 turns. While we're looking, I'm hoping that Valguris will post splits so that we have at least some update on his progress, since we can't actually see him on the stream. We did just see a bit earlier Mouth getting a signal interpreter, which will be nice later. also found the storage exits, and they're close by, so we might take them for recycling. And here we see that storage exits can spawn enemies. Yep, took it for recycling. So Xylan, which win number was it? Obviously, don't say details of what it is, but win numbers are nice and safe and spoiler free. Advanced EMP blasters, so nice. I am also checking periodically to see if Valgrisa's stream goes back up. Because if it does, then we can use that and put it back to the regular simulcast setup. Rylan says, I got W3. Very nice. Pretty sure I know how to get that one, but I haven't gotten it yet. But then I have a relatively low run count, so I haven't had that many opportunities to get it. I really should go finish the AFD run and do the Magic Wand hunting run and finish the Archives event run. I might do W3 on the Archives event run. As Alan says, I got a few close calls in that one. I can imagine, given what you have to do to get that win. Moore says she reached -6, 362 turns. Then says on previous runs, dying 3 tiles from the exit before. Oof, that's always painful. That like you almost made it, and you know that, and you can see the way out. Ooh, prototype flight units. Mouth is brightly willing to drop the advanced DMP blaster for that. Aw, the ramming happened to damage and permanently disable one of the flight units. Like, that is a possible side effect of ramming, but it's not a common one. So that's one of those somewhat calculated risk things, but I wonder why he rammed instead of just flying over, because you have a flight unit. Hey, good thing the disabled one got shut off, Silence says. Yeah, this is true. Moore's reached -5, 467 turns. And now Mouth has to decide if he wants to backtrack to get to the recycling exit, or try to go around a different way, or just take the main exit that he's seen. I think he's taken the main exit. Yeah. Yeah, and he reports in chat failed storage skip. Like, he knew where the exit was, but still, it's a very enemy dense area to go through, and he had basically no coverage. Yeah, too low core to really make it through that reliably without a bunch more coverage, which he didn't have. Like if he'd had a full build, that was doable, but obviously he didn't have a full build because it's speedrunning. And it's speedrunning when he'd already had a bunch of stuff shot off him. More reports that she also failed the storage skip and has reached -4 at 563 turns. At least the titanium legs will make decent prop armor now. Wow, Mora's going fast in real time, Island says. Yeah, she often does, actually. Especially when she gets to start at the same time as everyone else, it's fairly obvious. That she can set quite a fast real-time pace. As well as like a fast turn time pace too, especially early on. Ulti improved VTOL. Oh, at least it's ID'd now. There's another prototype. It, improved cesium ion, that one works. I was wondering why you took off the leg instead of the faulty plate unit. I think it was like to minimize the chance of damage to his things, but I'm not really sure. Because the faulty one can't be repaired. Better signal interpreter, lots of backups. That sort of, might as well fill the slots kind of deal, especially to have backups of a part that is very useful. So debating taking the maneuvering thrusters. They don't make them faster, but they improve dodge chances and trap avoid chances. And we see that he took it. Also taking the time to launcher these swarmers rather than have them follow him. Because he's not that much faster than they are. There's another pack of them. This is going poorly for him. Because firing shots is slow, substantially slower than just moving away. The problem is that he's not much faster than the swarmers, and so they'll follow him and rip him apart. At least rip the build apart. And then he won't be faster than them. Another flight unit. There you go. That sort of thing is also the reason why even for very slow builds, having a melee weapon to create new movement paths is important, and it's in fact important in different ways. Fast builds are often stealthy, and they want to use different paths, not as necessarily a time saving, unless the existing path is really long, but to avoid being spotted by enemies. Where slow builds, because their movement speed is slower, they have to have many fewer moves saved by making a new path to make that worth it. So even for like going out of a room like by the door that's on another wall versus just poking through to the other room that's your target area, it can be faster to break through the wall. Obviously here we're seeing the fast builds because speedrunning. Then says it's also cooler to enter new rooms through the walls. That it is, but from a purely optimization perspective. So that was nice. Hidden door got him into a new area. And then says, show the complex you were a badass robot. I mean, I don't think the complex notices that much. It notices in the sense that you get some alert rise bumps for breaking terrain, especially if you break a lot of it. I don't think it specifically notes like walls and stuff as separate from machines. Because showing the complex something is only really effective if the complex notices, right? But of course you can do it for fun if you just want to go through the walls. We did see earlier Mouth was using his propulsion armor to get through stasis traps quickly, because the slower propulsion types actually get out of stasis faster as a base thing, and also you get boosts to how fast you get out for having extra support over what you need, because the idea being that you can put extra force into trying to break out. So since the high coverage propulsion that's good as propulsion armor is also generally the slow but supportive propulsion, it works out relatively well to use that. So then it says access main. Yeah, access main. It wasn't a high chance, but it's the one thing you really want in a speedrun out of terminals. So I mean, you want index terminals and botnet and so forth, but you want those to find out where the exit is, or where the exits are, depending on the level. So it's definitely worth taking that chance, and we see that it paid off here. More reports, -1, 1,058 turns. You see Mouth has reached -6 at 640 turns. More might win this one, though we have no updates from Belgaris, so we don't know how fast he's going. The stream is still offline. see. I'll test something more of a build now. Still no hackware for actual offensive hacking, only the system shield. I expect him to start taking some more utilities soon to start putting more hackware on. And now he knows where not to go with the branches. He can go there if he really has to, but it's caves. And I got the terminal index for where to do a bunch more hacking. Also, he knows that the only branches on the floor are the caves now, so any unidentified exit he comes across, he knows he can go for as a main exit. I will note, Zalgiris plays relatively slowly real time, so he might not be posting splits on the Discord only because he's moving fairly slowly and doesn't think that he particularly needs to do that like every floor, but it's also possible that he didn't see my notification telling him, hey, your stream dropped, and so we won't get updates from him until he comes back looking for the next seed, which would be very sad. Moore's made a second update saying -1, 1186. I'm going to clarify what happened there. She says, crap, whoops. W0, 1186. Okay. There we go. So with that, we now have a time to beat. And I will put that in. Here you go. Hey, Moore. You hold the time to beat right now. Also, we're doing single stream commentary because Valgyr's stream dropped. Moore says, would have been faster, but the storage on the seed was miserable. Yeah, we saw that from Mouth. Not super easy to find and get to recycling. Also, with the single stream issue, I'm not sure what Valgyr's notification settings are, or if we can get a hold of him in any way until he comes back for the next siege to tell him that his stream is down. anyone knows, please let me know. Otherwise, we'll work with what we've got. So more, is there anything you want to tell us as viewers and commentators about stuff to look for on upcoming floors, or things that would be interesting to see what Mouth does differently? Morris says, just put it in his chat. If he's paying attention to it, he'll catch it for Valgyrus' stream. Okay, that's great. Thanks. Or also says, so Armory's on -3 on this seed, and it's an early exit. Ah, that's interesting. Okay, so C, does he root through Armory? And it won't be too long to see that, because Mouth has already explored a fair bit of -5. Here we see an extension exit. I think he's going to take it if he can open it, because extension is fairly uncomplicated to get through if you just want through it. Yeah, that's what it looks like. Purge just to reduce patrols. And here we go. Whee! Very, very easy to navigate if you already know how the area works. And then says, just go. Yeah, that's exactly it. And there we go. Personally, I wonder if you should have taken 2 utilities there instead, because you already had a bunch of free propulsion slots from propulsion armor being blown off by the behemoths. But you can also see taking more propulsion just for safety. So. It says, apart from that, I didn't actually take any branches besides storage. Yeah, that's understandable, that being a speedrun. But if you have any comments on like particular layouts being, weird or difficult or unusually easy or so forth, that would also be interesting. Where it says, I had a bit of offensive hackware by the end. Yeah, that's a useful thing to have. And got lucky on hacks. Yeah, it'll be interesting just to see how this goes. Melt is already almost at 1,000 turns, and he's still on -4. So there's a good chance that he won't actually beat your time more. I mean, he might, but research and access in less than 200 turns is not that easy if you don't already have a whack ton of flight units and hackware. Says, yeah, -2 starts you off in upper left part of map. Silent says, by the way, I got fully traced to the Scanalyzer and didn't get an investigation. Is that normal? I did get a plus 1% corruption failure, though. Silent, it is possible. One thing Kizrati did, especially to make things not quite as hard on new players in the early game, is to make it that at least in the deepest parts of the complex, like in materials and stuff, full traces don't always send investigations, just usually. So yes, that can happen. It's not a bug. It's just rare you got lucky. Moore says, going north and east from there, that upper left part of the map, is a dead end, but most of the exits are to the east. Some are to the south, but it's a long route. Okay, so you do have to go a bit roundabout. Then says, I see, yeah, it was very early. Yeah, that's why. Once you get higher up in the complex, I'm pretty sure every trace gets an investigation, because it was specifically aimed at not being quite so hard on new players. Moore says, I got a lucky cut on one of the eastern rooms and managed to skip through to get to the access exit more quickly after hacking all exit locations. Yeah, I can see how that would be super helpful. It says, oh, and -4 is irritating. Melta's just left. He knew that was going to be either research or armory, and because he'd already identified caves, and I believe it couldn't be armory because armory always does the special prefab if you see it in factory. I'm not sure if it always does, though, or whether it just only does that sometimes. I've never seen it without its fancy prefab in factory, though. But yeah, we did see -4 be quite irritating for the time Mouth was in it. Or says, yeah, I'm also pretty sure it, as an armory, always has a fancy exit in -4. That is what I've heard. At least I've heard other people with a lot more runs than me say they've never seen it not have the fancy exit when it's in -4. And the exit is like very guarded. You know that it goes somewhere you want to be prepared for combat just by that. So this might be the armory you mentioned? Yep, there you go. It does make sense, because in research, like, armory is the worst of branches to wind up in, but quarantine and testing always have very predictable main exit positions. Like, there's basically only 2 areas you have to check, and they're both relatively close to each other. Armor, I believe, is somewhat predictable, not as predictable. It's still, so in research, taking a branch isn't so bad. And definitely if you are presented with a branch exit early, it can be worth taking it instead of hunting around for a main exit. Silent says, I wonder why it's a small exit in research. I don't know. Maybe because research is already fairly heavily guarded in and of itself. But no, I don't know exactly a lore reason for that. Presumably there is one. Latin says maybe it's the back entrance to armory. That's also possible. Maybe that armory has some entrances in -3 and some entrances and -4, but they're like in different sections, so you only ever encounter one in one way up. In a run. Moore says maybe Factory is more prone to derelict incursions because of its closeness to the caves, and so it needs a fancy guarded exit. That's also very possible. That is a good explanation. Because you're right. Factory has guaranteed caves where there's guaranteed derelicts, while research has its other branches be complex controlled. You see, Mouth is running he's running one thruster on core power. I believe he can put on one of his reactors, but just barely, and now he can't. Xylan says, oh wow, propulsion happened. For propulsion armor, yeah. Or if you want to like actually run on legs or treads, but I think Mouth would have preferred it if that was a mix of treads and flight units. Leyland says, yeah, not for this type of run, stuck out tongue. Yeah. Yeah, if you're looking for like legs or treads to actually move on, that's definitely great propulsion, great propulsion room for this sort of thing. You want the mix of treads and flight units for propulsion armor, or just flight units to go super zippy. Where it says, oh god, demo. Yeah, it's not going to be fun. At least the demo hasn't fired because it was avoiding its allies. So if he can outfly it, or at least like keep the swarmers in between so that the demo won't fire, then that could at least avoid that part of the problem, but then you still have a tail, which is unpleasant, and he's not very much faster than swarmers. Also, oof, this is nasty. There's another demo and a whole bundle of enemies that he's going through. Did he? I don't think he triggered assaults, did he? But he's getting followed by imps and so forth. In Rainmaker, yep. Where it says, no, this is just armory. Okay, yeah. That does make a fair amount of sense, given that it is presumably full of weapons and so heavily guarded, and also it's high up in the complex. War says it's full of pain is what it is. Yeah, okay. So, you either... So in regular play, I'm guessing you don't go unless you want to be dishing out robot pain? I mean, there is lore that says if you don't go to armory unless you're going like with an army. Which I imagine wreaks havoc on alert because of the enemy density. Or if you're gonna sneak really, really fast. Silence says, I'm still trying to figure out the secret stuff that's supposed to be here. I won't give spoilers for this. I can give you a hint at what to look for. Or more, no, not what to look for, which to look in to figure it out. but I'll do that later. Nora says, I just never go. It's just not worth it most of the time. Yeah, I can see that. What with some of the storage shells is said containing dormant enemies that proceed to wake up and immediately come after Mouth here. Storage doesn't do that. These storage shells always contain nice stuff, rather than enemies that can see you through the shells and wake up and promptly break the shells and come after you. So, if I'm reading that right, Rainmaker fired, accidentally hit Swarmer's engine, the engine blew up. Well, Mouth found the airborne propulsion stockpile. Where it says, now Rainmaker hit the machine. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It says, think that particular machine is very sensitive. Yeah, I can imagine that. Mouth is down to running one thruster on core power again because he doesn't have more power. There we go. -2 at 1,363 turns. So he's not going to win this one. At least not in the sense of winning the race. He may still actually win, like, the run itself. Silence says, oh, so many nice items here and nice enemies. Yep. The upper complex is like that. Bunch more thrusters now. Still no power for them. And more propulsion armor. If he wants to take it, he may not. It appears that Valkyris still has not noticed his drop stream. Or, like, it's technically a stream, but it's only a black screen. I can't tell. Because Twitch isn't saying it's offline. It says, nah, it is offline. Okay. This is something I want to check. Also, Mouth has gotten really low on matter, in addition to being at an energy deficit. Mouth grabbing hot lore. Yep. I mean, hacking at a terminal doesn't have a time cost. If he sees one that he can take and he doesn't have anything else to do with the terminal, it's not going to impact the run as a speed run. Silence says, I got the bottommost lore entry recently with a 7% chance or something on a non-hacker. I don't want to meet the guys I got the analysis for. Yeah, makes sense. Nora says, yeah, this is what I mean about -2. Yeah, definitely. You can see, like, it's a long path. And at access, 1,460 turns. Where it says, so you can grab access main here. One of the terminals near spawn has it. This one with level access points? Oh, locked out. Aw. It says, but he needs to get lucky. Yeah, we just saw that. So where is the surface exit? In rough location. We can see what path Mouth takes. Where it says, I did get that one. Exit is in the bottom right quadrant of the map near this, near the center, actually about halfway between the center and the corner. Okay. Makes sense. So really, he needs to go down. Did get a refit. Got some backup power to help run all the flight units and be substantially faster than swarmers. Where it says orientation is guarded to north, terminal to south. Okay, makes sense. We'll see which way he enters it from. Cycler, where it says cycler in same hallway, no more than 20 tiles from the exit on the northwest side. Okay. So it's not too hard to go back and get the cycler if trying to hack the back exit open, entrance open fails. The island says, some nice backup lasers, I mean pea shooters. Backup lasers in general are not that good, but the ones you get from security level 3 repair stations, with them being the backup laser 7, I mean, they're not spectacular by any means, but I believe they are rating 7 parts. It says, also, wow, Mouth is hurting here. Yeah, he might die. Yeah, because he doesn't have any way to get out of stasis quickly, and he was taking a bunch of fire. He lost all his propulsion armor, all his equipped thrusters. Had to put one on, and he'd already lost a bunch before he got in the trap. So there's a cycler. This might be the same cycler you were mentioning. Yeah, he may very well die. Okay, yeah, I found it. Yeah, that was the cycler you were mentioning. And now he knows the exit orientation, and he's decided not to tangle with the behemoths, because the one, they will rip him apart, 2, he doesn't have a melee weapon. He has no way or anything else that can break through those doors. Also, now he is slower than swarmers, so he might die very easily. He got more Q thrusters. He can't power more than 1, though. In fact, even to run 1, he's running at a small energy deficit. And he has a massive tail. There you go. He's down. Silence says, rip. Rip indeed. Mouth comments, still managed to come back semi-strong even after the wind got punched out of my momentum. Yeah, we did see him come back, and we did see him lose basically all his propulsion and go get more several times. Mouth says, just need to go to the bathroom, then I'm up for another. Okay, I'm up to comment another, so we may have a second race today, but we will see how things go. We're not even sure if the first race is done because we haven't heard from Valguris at all. Mora says she's also down for another. Just looking at the stuff regarding the single stream situation in chat. Xylan says, yay, the races are fun. And it says backup stream, always keep backup streams. I mean, there's only certain things where you can, but having other people doing the same thing who are willing to stream as a backup if needed, or rotate in for other reasons or so forth is pretty helpful. Valguris is typing in the Discord, so we have contact again. So Vilgers reports that he got W0 in 1,117 turns, so just faster than Moore. Mouth says he is back from his short break, so we will see. They're currently suggesting ways to possibly fix the stream down issue if Velgers does want to stream another race. Velgers says it's working now. Let's check. It is working now. It's showing the ad again, but says, I only had to stop streaming and start it again. But unfortunately, I didn't read the comments, he says, because, yeah, we were saying in chat, stream is down. But yeah, he's had it paused at his windscreen the whole time, so I am going to go back to showing both, because now we actually can, and put his back to full screen. Chris also says, heart hellfire missiles. And Moore says same. Yeah, I can imagine it would be very useful for dealing with the massive piloswarmers. And Moore also says that they broke a wall for her. While we wait, I will also update time to beat, though we won't need it for much longer. So everyone says they're ready to go. Among our racers, we have our new seed, which I will put in. Less alliterative than our last seed. We do have one now. And we're off for another race. We just have our streamers starting. We see different strategies in picking out items. I believe Vulgaris, yeah. So you see how Mouse is coming in with not full storage and not keeping on the starter weapons. Not actually sure where you got a heatsink, because that's not something you normally get in the scrapyard, being a utility that's not a small storage unit. And also utility none of the neutrals carry. He may have gotten it very quickly on -10 is what it was. And Mouth reached -9 in 35 turns, Moore reached it in 64 turns. Gurus reached it in 28 turns. Oh, passing right by storage caches. Something you only really do in speedruns. Because pretty much every other build wants storage, unless it's like pure core. Leyland says he got the heatsink in the first room after leaving -11. Okay, yes, that makes sense. We also see that our two streamers have taken the same exit so far. Just with slightly different paces. Mouth has also found a system shield, which is helping him hack already. And we see that Valguris got a squad called from the garrison, while Mouth managed to pass by quickly enough not to. Neither of them have found any flight units yet. It's possible that the siege just doesn't have them readily accessible in materials, or at least readily accessible without like finding haulers. It happens. It just slows things down. Mouth has taken a second power slot fairly early, I believe in case he finds a whole bunch of light units and wants to go for heavy flying. At least a heavy flying style of speedrun build. And which also works out because you just got a refit, and the refit will give you up to 2 power sources. Mouth has a swarmer pack on his tail in a dead-end room, which is kind of unfortunate because he has no launcher and no flight units, so he's slower than them. And they are shooting off his propulsion armor. I believe he's going to get the launcher? Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. Valguris has reached -7, 143 turns. Moore has reached -6, 326 turns. Silent says, Val just used a bit of time to get that launcher. Yeah, I mean, launchers can be worth it in speedruns because they're good at eliminating one of the few enemies who can catch up to speedrun builds. But yes, it is a strategic choice to take the time to go get that. Valguris also managed to find a substantial flight unit stash, and in much better condition than Mouth has. Mouth is, I believe, using VTOLs that came off swarmers and are badly damaged already. So I would say at this point that Valguris is in much better shape. Moore has reached -5, 439 turns. Mouth is taking 3 chainswords, which seems like a lot, but given, well, 3 chain swords in inventory and one of them on. Given his, that he doesn't have that much propulsion armor, they are relatively likely to blow off, and he may never find another set. Aw, the exit was caves. That's really gonna slow Mouth down. I mean, he's pretty good with caves. He knows how to get through them, but still. Because he has to go through this whole map here. And then on top of that, he has to at least find the turn back exit in a second caves map. Also, usually when he navigates caves, he has sensors, if he's not speedrunning, which means he can avoid the enemies much more easily. Then says, but caves have that nice ambient music. They have that spooky ambient music that tells you shouldn't be there. And Mouth has encountered hostile derelicts. Well, Valguris has found an interesting exit from -7. It's rare to get that kind of exit in a room setup. Moore has reached -3, 640 turns. Ooh, Mouth did quite a long and risky tunnel there. But then he did have 3 backup chainswords in inventory, so it makes some degree of sense. Valguris is zipping around -6. He's taken a second power slot now that he has a bunch of thrusters to run with it. Says, Xylan says, oh, risky tunneling. Yeah, risky tunneling indeed. Mouth reached -6, 434 turns. The cave's detour was not kind to him. And Valguris has gotten an access main, found the factory exits from -6. None of them were particularly close, which isn't all that great, but he knows where they are now. And Mouth has found some more prop armor, which will help him out. Also, a pack of swarmers, for which he is using rockets. That worked. 1 shot, 1 kill on all of them. Well, 1 squad kill. Sometimes swarmers wind up not dying, and it's a pain. Like, the explosion will hit, as AoE damage does, but it will be spread across many different parts that aren't the swarmer's core, and so the swarmer's still around to shoot you. So Mouth knows this is an exit he wants. I believe he's going to slam in. Yeah. Use the treads to slam the sentry off. Xylan says, yeah, I love Scatter Rocket Array. That usually leaves no survivors versus swarmers. Yeah, I can imagine, because it gives you so many explosions in 1 shot. has a fair bit of spread to it, but the many explosions are useful, and this scattering of them is, it can be fun to set off a lot of explosions. Silence has 10 shots for the scatter variant. Yeah, I can see that. I have used gamma bomb array volleys of like 4 of them. That's also really fun. Just boom, 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 boom. Also, squads go down to that. As Island says, oh, in the AFD run. Yeah, in the AFD run. That's how you fairly reliably find 4 gamma bomb arrays at once. To be clear, this was the last AFD run that I'd actually finished. This wasn't the one that I'm doing on stream. That one isn't that high up in the complex yet. But I do intend to get it there. Zylan says, still want an ST array for ultimate hurt. I mean, I think the ST itself is ultimate hurt. Then says that doesn't exist, but it should. I mean, I think it doesn't exist because the people who built the ST either didn't bring it or didn't see a need to build one, or didn't bring it with them. Also, given that the ST is guided and has a massive fall-off radius, I'm not sure how you would really control an array of them. Or if you could do that at all without blowing yourself up. Like, in all practicality, I imagine that to wind up being a flashy suicide weapon if it's not guided. And if it is guided, it's really more like multiple shots at the same target. Because like scatter arrays all have enforced spread. Yeah. So you can't really guarantee that they always hit one spot. But guided, the guarantee is they always hit one spot. So you can't really do both on the same weapon. ST array is a fancy means of suicide, though, I can see. Moore says, -1, 912 turns. It will be good to get the final run outcome report from her. It might be sub 1K. Depends on how access goes. We do have both of our streamers on multiple thrusters now, which is nice. None of them are prototypes, but multiple thrusters. Belgaris has also stacked 3 system shields for hackware and has a reaction control system to reduce damage to the build. Well, Noth has gotten nothing but 2 signal interpreters for utilities. Silence says maybe make it a 6-slot weapon with built-in 90% thermal resist, no guide, and low range, like a 1-use bunker. I mean, if it destroys itself before all the firing effects go off, that doesn't really work, I don't think, because then you wouldn't have the thermal resist anymore. And I think like weapons that have degradation effects uh, do like have the degrade when the shot is fired, not when the shot lands. Then says, "Oh right, very bad bunker, leaving before the party." Yeah, I think that's how it would go. Also, 6 slots is a massive amount for a weapon. Uh, Even like the ridiculously rare to actually get equipped weapon that you occasionally find in W's base only takes 5. Oh, Mouth got the infestation in the complex event. Silent says, yeah, I want to find the W one. Not only do you have to find it, you have to find it on a run where you either already have 5 weapon slots to put it on, or have the ability and willingness to carry it around until you can evolve 5 weapon slots to put it on. Because like unlike the one in Z where you can theoretically drop all your spares and put it on no matter how little storage you have, like obviously assuming you're not on pure core, you can do it with like your base storage. The one in W you can't actually take with you without a storage unit. And it says, I want to find it someday again. Yeah, I died while carrying it through proxy caves. I can imagine! Because it's taking up 5 slots that currently aren't doing anything for you. Or at least they aren't doing anything for you while you're carrying it. It's not really something you can just swap in as a backup weapon. I mean, I imagine if you manage to have the slots and support it and build around it, I mean, support not just in mass, but also in, the matter and energy costs and so forth, that it could be a fun and interesting and probably reasonably good weapon when built around. But that it takes a lot of work to get to even really put on. Silent says, maybe 5 slots will be super nice in Beta 7 with early game gunslinging, since it's going to be the 100% chance. Yeah, you'll see, it is one thing that encourages builds with many weapon slots and makes them more viable. Which is useful because like low weapon builds are very strong, and it's nice to also have like interesting options with a variety of slot distributions, including to have interesting high weapon slot options. In an early game especially, 1 core hit will often kill a robot. So it makes sense that higher chance of switching to a second target or guaranteeing that switch makes having many weapons more powerful, because not only are you more likely to land that 1 core hit you need, if you do that early in the volley, you're not wasting the rest. Mouth has reached -2, 935 turns. But yeah, we'll see how things change in Beta 7 with the robot hacking rework and like proper system. I think that would be a bigger change, just overall, because it affects a fair number of strategies and opens up a lot of new strategies. And so I think we'll see a lot of people is trying that and seeing where it fits. Ooh, Valguris is out of propulsion. That's unpleasant. Morris says W0, 1,232 turns, so I will put that in. There we go. Hey, Moore. You say, oof, this access. It's really bad access. Because you spent almost 300 turns in it. Is it like a painful layout, or like the way that seems natural to check first turns out to be the wrong way, or what? Morris has spent 300 turns in it, going either roughly 31 speed or 21 or 20 speed. The layout was not friendly. Okay, makes sense. Valguris is down. Yeah. Died in -4. He lost all his propulsion first. It was not pleasant for him. Morris says, first direction I thought to check access was a dead end, and then the first exit I saw was the command exit. So did you go into the command exit, or did you decide not to take it and look for the surface exit? It says the terminals didn't give me access main. I assume you mean that the 3 security level 1 terminals that are always with the command exit. Okay, you wandered around the map for a while, so you're looking for surface. Since we're down to 1 streamer for not technical issues reasons this time, I'm going to go back to the full screen setup. There we go. That is almost naked, but this may work. We'll see how he does. We'll see if he rebuilds with some nice stuff to get fast and get through the door. Well, he has propulsion armor now. Ooh, prototype flight. Also a bunch of power. Experimental Q thruster. Zoom. Or says the exit is pretty far from the spawn, too. Whee! That took him from 50 speed to 20 speed. So he's now moving 2.5 times faster than he was before. Well, 2.5 times as fast. Second prototype flight, what's this? Diametric drive. Actually makes him slower because the experimental Q thruster is so fast. Moore says, was running this solely for a while. 20 speed is nice. Yeah, it's really nice when speedrunning. So you can go at 22 with a reactor or 20 with just core power, but I believe he was at an energy deficit with that. Moore says the problem is too that both of the cyclers are in the dead end. So if you want to go the cycler route to getting the door open, you have to go really far. Especially if you realize later, because then you have to backtrack a lot. Yeah, that is not very friendly to going fast. Yeah, Melt has gone back to running just the Q thruster, and we see that he is at an energy deficit on core power for it. Most thrusters, if you're running just one, you can do it on core power, but the experimental Q thruster is so zippy that it's taking its movement cost 5 times a turn. And so it drains your power a lot more. And even being a prototype with nicer move costs, it's still enough to actually produce that deficit. I mean, it's zippy and it's great. It would be nice to have, say, a couple more of them so you could actually put a reactor on to power them. Malthus realized that he's gone in a bit of a circle and is trying to cut through. But the chainswords are becoming somewhat outclassed now in access. The walls have gotten a lot stronger. He did get the cut through. And that did save him a lot of damage from the behemoth. He's decided to take the slightly slower method and run both thrusters here. Be cutting through more? Yeah, looks like it. And now, if he's wearing a sword, he's overweight. So he has to take the extra time to take it on and off, and he's not as easily able to back up and get momentum for it. So, is this the same dead end you dealt with more? Because definitely you're right, it looked like the reasonable first direction to check. Where it says, nope, not the same dead end. Okay. So there are two. More propulsion armor. Good to have. Where it says, the dead end I was referring to was the bottom left direction. Okay. Where it says, God, I hope he takes the enhanced Nova cannon. Yeah, that's important for shooting through the walls. Well, shooting through that last door. And now he's overweight again. Because he got a thruster shot off. Okay, there's the cycler room. Which is now seen has no other exits unless it's one in that one tile he didn't see. There's the other cycler. Where it says, oh, I guess the cyclers are a bit north of the dead end. Yep, looks like it. And he's having to recharge. So more propulsion armor didn't take it because of the enemy tail. Well, branch access is there, but so is terminal index. And terminal index basically gives you branch access because it becomes fairly obvious from, well, here it does because it's fairly obvious from the clustering of terminals where command is. It's fairly rare for them, for there to be a set of terminals close enough together to be the command exit that just generates naturally and isn't actually the command exit. The impulse thruster arrays here slow mouth down, but they sip power really compared to single flight units, and they are letting him put a reactor on. So they are helping out with his long-term speed. Also, Mouth has been here long enough to actually get programmers dispatched, which you rarely see in speedruns. And arc full of swarmers. That's going to be unpleasant because he doesn't have a launch anymore. So more, is this like the way to the exit? Is he heading in the right direction? Ah, there we go. Marissa says, sorry, I had to step away for a moment. No problem. Well, I found the exit. He tried opening the back door. It didn't work. And he didn't take the enhanced Nova cannon with him. He did see one relatively close by, so he's probably going to go get it. Because he's seen the cycler rooms, he knows that they're far away. I mean, he can chainsword up to that part. I don't think he can chainsword the reinforced barriers. And I believe even with max momentum, a chainsword won't do it. Because it's 42 base damage, and the momentum bonus, well, combined momentum and speed bonus is up to 40% of that. And that won't get him up to 70. And, uh, I believe the Nova cannons can shoot through the front. Welcome back, Xylan. Yeah, Malta's now trying to go for the front because he knows where it is. Or says, had a Herf cannon, enhanced Nova cannon, and micro nuke in inventory by the end of this just because I wanted backups for if one method didn't work. Yeah, makes sense. I think I've told you about micro nuking the front exit before. Point blank. Moore says, wheel speedrun confirmed. Armored huge wheels. They are propulsion armor. Moore says, oh, I point blank micro nuked the exit too. Yeah, it's important sometimes to know that no, you can take the beating and you just gotta get a few more tiles. And now Mouth is overweight. I'm not sure if he can fire the Nova Cannon now. I don't know how much energy it takes. Okay, he can fire it. It's breaking through, but not super quickly. He's having to wait for his energy to refill. Silence has so many enemies, though. Yeah. But also, they shot the Nova Cannon off. And now he has no flight units. Where it says, ideally you want to attach it only once you're already at the doors. Yep, because you want to protect it from damage until then. You'd rather your core take the hit. Xylan says, how much armor do the doors have, the battle doors? They have a lot. More importantly, on top of the base armor value, they have resistances to every normal damage type except thermal. And the resistances are fairly substantial. So heavy thermal weaponry is the easiest way to get through them, just because if you want to use some other damage type, you have to deal even more damage in one hit. It says, oh, slashing too. Yeah, that final door has resistances to all the melee damage types. It says top tier melee weapons can do it. Yep, top tier melee weapons can. And they deal enough damage to overcome the resist. There may be a few other non-melee weapons that can do it despite not being thermal as well. Like talking the regular weapons, obviously there's a certain special weapons you find in certain places that can do it. And it says, oof, that lost a lot of core. Yeah, he lost a lot. He's down to using just that wheel as propulsion armor, and he's almost dead. And he's got behemoths firing on him. And dead. Where it says, think SB2, yeah. Yeah, the SB can do it, but the SB is like special melee, basically. Then it says, SP can get through everything there, right side and back. Yes. The SB can cut through any side, because its damage is quite high. Moore says, really, it can cut through the terminal side. I think so. If you have enough momentum for it. Not totally sure. But the SB has quite high base damage. But in any case, even if you... I believe SB's base max is like 70. So yeah. Oh, plus resist to everything except thermal. The SB maybe can't get through the back door proper, but what you can do, even if it can't get through the back door proper, you can cut through the wall right beside the door and use that to get a good hit basically through the side. Yeah, top tier melee can get through. Melee tends to do high damage to make up for low range. Yeah, I think this is it. Let me check. Yeah, just checking to see if we will have a third. I don't think it's particularly likely, but if we do have one, that's not a problem. Moore says, yeah, I think I'm done for today. Perfectly reasonable. Let's ping in chat to see. Yeah, Meth says that he's good for now. Yeah. Thanks to everyone who participated. Thanks for coming, everyone who's watched. As usual, it's having the community to participate and interact with that makes this kind of thing possible. Moore says, thanks for stream. You're very welcome. See you all around.